having that dream again. We are the emissaries from the void. All right, hello. Welcome back to my living room audience. I'm Ari.
And I'm Tristan.
And we watched a complicated to talk about movie.
Yeah.
Tristan, do you actually have things that you want to say about this film?
Yeah. We'll
get there. What movie did we watch?
We watched a movie that was wall-to-wall shit and piss.
And lots of spit. Everybody spits.
One of the wettest movies that I've
This
watched.
movie was moist. We only say that because it's true. Like, okay, be forewarned. Content warning for this film. Gore, violence.
Just kind of pervasive cruelty. Filth? Is that a content?
Implied sexual assault, general cruelty, and overall nihilistic worldview.
All right, yeah.
This film is just really difficult to watch. Now, as appreciators of strange, void media, I definitely really liked this film. I really appreciate it on an artistic level, and I think that it's worth watching if you are someone who has a stomach for it. But if you're easily nauseated by things, or if you need a plot to engage you a little bit more overtly, then just read the book, I will say. Because I read the book, or I've been reading it. I'm not done with it yet, but I know how it ends. And the book is very good. It's from 1964. It's translated from Russian to English, but the translation is considered good. And if you want to get the experience of this film without the experience of this film, the book is good. The book is very different in some parts, and we'll get into that as we get into our discussion. But I just want to give everybody a firm warning here. This film is not for everybody.
Yeah. The film we're talking about is Hard to Be a God.
Made in 2013, or released in 2013.
Right, because there was an older one.
Made over the course of 10 years, this film was. So it's another, it's like Mad God. It's a passion project made by people over a really long period of time. Okay, so just some general information. This film was made by Aleski German. It was filmed in Russian. It is a foreign film. If you're going to watch it, you're going to watch translations. Now, the official release comes with translations, of course, but the version of it we watched, the people said it was not exactly a very good translation, so that may have impacted our enjoyment of the film. But I felt like I was able to follow it enough that we can talk about it.
Right.
But just be warned, if you are going to watch this film, it is up for free on YouTube. You don't even have to do any pirating. It's just there. But the captions were made by AI, so
a little bit iffy.
Proceed with your own caution, basically. But effectively, this film was made for a budget of $7 million. So by film standards, that's a very low budget. It's not a shoestring, of course, but it's definitely for the scope of some of the shots we get in this film. It's definitely, they use their money well.
Yeah,
it was kind of just envisioned and made by people, ex-Soviet people. The book was made during the Soviet occupation of where the author of the book was from. And so that does play a huge role into the overall sentiment and vibe. Anyone who is familiar with Russian literature will know that they have a very specific brand of nihilism for their work. If you've played Metro Last Light, for example, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, compare Metro Last Light to Fallout. Compare those two games to each other, and you will get the difference between American nihilism and Russian nihilism. And that is what this film has in spades. This film is so bitter.
Deeply cynical.
Yeah, and like the book is too, but the book has an ending that's a little bit more hopeful. There's a hope at the end of the book, whereas this film just doesn't have any of that. This film is a downer from beginning to end. So now that we've talked about that and given a good primer, Tristan, what was this movie about?
This movie was about pissing and shitting and sneezing and spitting all at the same time.
There is a lot of it in here, but I think it serves a very important purpose in this film.
Yeah. So this film is kind of about the loneliness and hopeless feeling of living in a society that has kind of abandoned advancement or improvement, a society that's given up and in this case actively rejects the Enlightenment that was kind of quote unquote supposed to happen.
Yeah, so more to your point, I would say that I feel like this movie is about the isolating nature of power and how, like, okay, so if you're one of the masses, like one of we are, if you're one of the proletariat masses, and you kind of just have this sense of like, well, these people on top, they're running everything. So, you know, while it sucks, like I know who's to blame for my suffering. Whereas the people on the top of this shit heap, the bourgeoisie, they don't have anything to blame for why it sucks and it still sucks. Like all of these billionaires are fucking miserable. And why is that? Why are they miserable? Because there is nothing at the top. All they can do is inflict more suffering. And even the ones who want to help, like our protagonist who we'll get into, they can't because like the system by its nature opposes trying to change the system. So if you make it to the top of the heap, you are a prisoner to it the same way that everyone else is. The only luxury that you have is that you don't have to worry about starving or housing or whatever.
Right.
Like your basic needs are met, but you still have this crushing existential dread because there is nothing at the top. There is nothing there. There's no more lands to conquer. Or in the case of our protagonist, he's trying to help, but like the people who are on his level in the society don't want him to do that.
Right.
And the people who are below are so uneducated and so ignorant to the grander scheme of things that they don't want his help either. So it's like it's a no-win scenario. Like the only way to have a society become better is for the people on the bottom to change. But in order to do that, they'd have to be elevated. That's what this Renaissance idea seems to be about. Like we're trying to elevate these people so that they can then make their society better from the ground up, because the way that they have it now, the system cannot by its nature become better. It doesn't want to be. It likes the way that things are.
So the kind of style of the filmmaking here is almost voyeuristic. The camera really like puts you in the thick of it on the street.
Yeah, I remember I said like when we were watching it multiple times, it felt like we were just kind of being put into the POV of another character.
Yeah. It kind of makes you a character. People look directly into the camera many times. Sometimes they even speak to the camera.
Yeah, like they'll just acknowledge the camera. Like there's a couple of times where our main character, his name is Anton, like his actual name is Anton, but on the planet he goes by Don Ramada, and there's a point in the film where he looks at the camera and tells us to go away. Like even he does it. So like that's why I'm like, my theory that we are just like jumping around the POVs of these different servants and like people just around. Like we don't ever take the POV of any of the main characters, but we're like, no one is ever alone in this film. Like there is no point at which someone is having a conversation with just one other person. At no point is that happening. Every time you turn around, there is like 20 other fucking people in the room with them. And that's very like medieval.
So I guess we should set up the premise here, which is this is technically another planet.
Yes.
Called
we don't Arrakis. That's Dan.
It's something that sounds similar though.
So we don't get a name for the planet, but the country that they are in is Arkanar.
Okay. Country. Wow. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, there's other countries around that get referenced, and they're kind of important, but we don't see them. All of the plot takes place in Arkanar.
Okay. This is a planet that is very similar to Earth and is kind of in its dark ages, and scientists from Earth were sent to this planet to kind of help them along to finding their Renaissance Enlightenment era.
Yes.
But these people have such anti-intellectualism that they have started just like killing anybody who is too smart, basically. They call them wise guys.
Yeah, or like another insult that comes up a lot is brain box.
Yeah.
You're a real brain box, aren't you? I don't know if again, because it's translated from Russian, so I don't know.
Right.
But the best approximation that the translations could come to was calling them a brain box. And it's like a slur. So they're not just anti-intellectual. They're like competitive anti-intellectual with how they treat people. Because like people are allowed to write. Like people are allowed to be smart and know how to read and stuff. It's not like it's illegal or anything like that. But there's this very large group of people that if they can catch you out, they will kill you. For being a wise guy.
Yeah. Early on in the movie, a couple guys find this wise guy and they like pick him up and just dump him head first into a cesspool, basically.
Yeah. They basically take apart an outhouse.
Yeah.
And then they just throw him into the outhouse and kill him by drowning him in feces, which is yikes. So some more just like basic information about this planet. So we get a narration at the beginning that kind of just explains like this is like Earth, but two key differences are that it's a lot rainier and wetter on this planet. Like they say like the rains don't last very long, but the fog just lasts forever. And so everything's always damp and wet and just
a lot of mud.
There's mud everywhere. And like in the film, an important detail we almost didn't say is that the film is in black and white.
Yeah.
So you don't know what anything is really like.
Yeah.
Is it mud? Is it shit? Like, what is it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
is it blood? Is it tar?
Yeah, there's a couple of points where I definitely think it was blood, but it could be ambiguous as to what it is.
Yeah.
So these groups of scientists, they're called observers.
Okay.
And their whole purpose is to try and guide the evolution of these planets, but they're not allowed to kill.
Yeah. They probably have other rules, but that's the main one.
That's the one that's important for the plot. Like in the book, they talk about how there's two factions of them, like ones that are interventionist and ones that are not. But in the movie, there's no distinction made between them. They're just all interventionists. But they have like this rule of like, we're not going to kill anybody. We're going to just kind of be there to like act as a guiding force.
Yeah.
But it's not really working for Arkanar. It's working for the other countries because we get told that they're better. People are leaving for these other countries.
Yeah.
But Rumada is not having a good time in Arkanar.
Yeah. Like you say that they're interventionists and you say that Don Ramada is trying to help. My feeling is that he has given up.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
He seems overcome by cynicism and he's just kind of drifting around in this world, and he has enough power that he doesn't have to worry about anything.
But if that was the case, why didn't he just go back to Earth? Because he talks about going back to Earth with that one girl. He wants to take her back, but then she dies. So, like, at any point he could have left for Earth if he really was done. Like,
I mean, that was really unclear to me, because we don't really know how they came to this planet.
That's true. They talk about a chariot of fire. Some of the some of his servants say like, well, or in that like one of his people's like, we're gonna get the chariot of fire and you're gonna help us beat this guy, because so I assume they still have a spaceship on the planet, because and a detail is that Ramada is veiling himself as a demigod. Like, so he's
in addition to an aristocrat or whatever.
Yeah. So like, he's basically saying like, my father is this local god. And so he uses that to explain why arrows bounce off of his shirt and why he can cut things in half with his sword. And because he's got a bunch of futuristic technology disguised as medieval technology.
Right.
So I kind of get the impression that like they have a spaceship, but it's really unclear in the film. It's overtly clear in the book because They do leave Earth at the end of the book, or they leave the planet for Earth at the end of the book. But like it's
I feel like that's kind of maybe the main divergence between the book and the movie is that the movie is really kind of honed in on this one guy's experience of being sad.
In this place. Yeah.
Sad and frustrated.
Ramada cannot win in this film. Like he cannot win. Like he's trying so hard to like just stay functional, and he
so like we can kind of go through a plot. This is a long movie, but it's not a movie in which a lot happens plot wise. It's
the best I can say is that this film kind of feels like Game of Thrones in its pacing. Like most of the time is spent with people just having conversations with each other.
Yeah.
That's really the majority of this film. It's just people Ramada goes from one place to another and he just has conversations. Some of them are productive. Some of them are menacing.
Yeah.
All of them are pointless in the end, basically. Like,
yeah.
I would like warn you, like the pointlessness is the point.
Right.
Like there's a house of cards that Ramada is precariously balanced upon. Like his mission is to elevate people, but he's also utilizing their superstition in order to support himself.
Right.
And that comes back to bite him because he's guised himself as this one person, but that person was a real person that died that he took the place of. So it's like
a Don Draper kind of thing.
Yeah, basically. And Don Reba, his main antagonistic force in this film, finds that out and like throws a pile of bones on the table and is like, "That's you."
Yeah.
Like, I know your secret. I know that you're not who you say you are. So why should I fear you? But then, of course, in that conversation, Ramada reminds Reba why he should fear him. Because he is scary. Like, Ramada's not a gentle man. He is a terrifying man, and he does really cruel things to people. Like, but it's like the Batman thing of like he'll beat the absolute piss out of somebody, but he won't kill them.
Right.
Like there's a point where he like hits somebody so hard that the other people shout, "You broke all of his ribs."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that kills people. That's
he's gonna die eventually.
Yeah, like you didn't kill him, congratulations, but he's gonna suffer. Or like there's a point where he sticks his fingers up into someone's nose and like pulls down hard, and then like the man's like gushing goo out of his face, and like he goes over and Ramada's like sees he's got gunk on his fingers and he goes over and wipes it on the guy that he just assaulted. Like it's stuff like that where it's like
he's in this pervasively cruel world,
and it's starting to rub off on him.
Yeah. He talks about he kills in his dreams,
which is, I mean, like if you're constantly surrounded by death and violence, and other people are killing all the time, like I'd imagine you'd be like, well, if only I could just kill these motherfuckers. Like, this isn't our society where like killing someone is a big deal. Like.
Right.
Like, oh, look, okay, like think about this. The wanton cruelty that our government is currently doing to kill Venezuelans and Colombians off the coast of America with like bombing their boats and stuff. That is just happening in the streets in this place. Like people are just killing each other all the time, and they don't give a fuck. Like they do not give a fuck about life. Life is so cheap here that some people won't kill you just because it's not worth the effort to fucking kill you. Like, most people are enslaved, right? Like, slavery is pervasive in this setting.
Yeah,
it's an interesting set design detail that the slaves all wear this chainmail. Like, if you notice, like all of them are wearing this chainmail, and then some of them have collars around their neck, but other ones don't. But their servants and slaves are all covered in chainmail, like they're being weighed down by the society itself or something. Like it's a very interesting detail because historically chainmail is something that was worn by wealthier people because it's expensive to make, but all the slaves are wearing it. None of the aristocrats we see are wearing chainmail. They're all wearing plate armor.
Yeah.
Just a weird detail that I noticed.
Yeah. Another detail about Ramada is he enjoys music.
He does. He starts and ends this film with playing on like it's an instrument that doesn't exist, but it sounds like a saxophone.
Yeah, a little bit. Like maybe in between a saxophone and like a, I don't know, piccolo or something. But nobody else really enjoys his music.
No, it's not bad.
It's like kind of jazzy. It's kind of modern.
Yeah.
We don't hear. Do we hear any like?
We do.
Music?
He does make his servants play like this trumpet really badly.
Yeah, this is not a really musical society
because they didn't have their Renaissance. They like look, IRL medieval Europe had a lot of music. Basically, everyone played an instrument if they had the time.
Yeah,
because it was people had so much time on their hands. Like this movie is not an accurate portrayal of medieval anything, because IRL medieval life was mostly just spent chilling. Like you were working in the fields, you worked really hard during certain seasons, but in the winter you just bunkered the fuck down and you didn't really do much. So everyone played an instrument, everybody had hobbies that they did, people carved, people did all this stuff.
Right.
And it was just because like sometimes you just have a whole day and nothing would happen.
Yeah.
And our cultures are different, but we are the same that we were then. Like, imagine how bored y'all get when your internet's out at home.
Yeah.
Now, imagine you never had internet, and the only people you have to talk to are the 20 people in your village.
Yeah.
And occasionally a traveler will come through your village, going from one place to another, usually a pilgrim, and you're gonna stop and harass the shit out of that person, like, because this is the only stimulation you have had for months.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Like this film is using the skin of medieval Europe to prove a point, but it's like it's like all the cruelty of the world distilled and none of its goodness.
Yeah, yeah. This is a medieval slum that we're like shouldering our way through.
Right. And like people were miserable. Like there were bugs everywhere. There were diseases. People starved all the time. Like it's not to say that the medieval Europe was without its cruelty, but it's just most people found community. We're a communal species.
Yeah.
And it's almost like this planet, the people here are not communal.
Yeah. There's something deeply dysfunctional about
like because it's unclear as whether these are humans that descend from Earth at some point, or if they're like this is one of those like Stargate situations where there's just humans everywhere and it's just unexplained. The people of this film act differently than the people of Earth. Yeah. And not just because like we're more advanced than them, but like looking at our own history, how we acted, I'm not sure how to parse that, you know?
Yeah.
Because why did they choose to portray it like that? You know what I'm saying? Like the book, there's a lot of cruelty in the book, but it is not like this. Yeah. The book is more akin to actual medieval Europe, if that makes sense. Like people, it's just a medieval city. Like it's just people are not advanced, but they're not like this. This film is just pure cruelty from beginning to end. And like I think that does it a disservice, because to continue the gist of things, the main problem in this movie that we're seeing, like the main conflict, is that Don Reba has amassed this army that are called Greys, and at least in the translation that we got, they're called Greys, and they're basically fascist stormtroopers.
Yeah,
like not Star Wars. I mean, like OG World War II stormtroopers, and in the book, it's very overt that that's what they're comparing to, but the book was written literally 20 years after, or less than 20 years after this shit happened IRL. Right. So it was very fresh on people's minds. Whereas in this, it's a little bit more ambiguous. Yeah. But they are Grey. They're called Greys, and they're going around. They're just pillaging and killing and amassing, and everyone's fucking terrified of them. And Don Reba is using that to take control of this of Arkanar. Like both the Dons are just, they're powerful men in this feudalistic government. Mm-hmm. And there's a king but
we don't really
see that. But Arkanar is a country. It's a kingship country. It's a feudal kingship country. And so Reba is using these Greys to take over vast swaths of territory. And he wants to kill Ramada because Ramada is a political rival. But he's unable to goad him, like, because Ramada's held true to his no killing, not getting involved. Just Ramada's just keeping the peace. That's all he's trying to do.
Yeah.
So through the plot of this story, Reba confronts him about not actually being Ramada, and then Ramada's like, well, you know, you kind of suck. Like, he basically just like dresses him down. Like, it was like so menacing and cold. Like, and then he ends that with like, we might be talking, but we're not having a conversation. Then he just walks away from him. Like,
yeah,
like it's such a weird thing like that's been going on. But then there's another like group called Blacks, which I don't know what they're called.
Unfortunate.
I don't know what they're called in Russian, but they're called that because of the color of their gear.
Right.
Like the Greys wear gray cloaks, the Blacks wear black armor, and they are true believers in nihilism. Like the Greys might be wanting to like take over shit, but the Blacks in this are like wanting to like murder everyone. We get a scene where Ramada goes to this other part of Arkanar and he's walking through and they have all these torture devices set up and they're just torturing people. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, hey, look at this device that we made. And it's literally a wooden penis that they use to like, they strap a woman into and then they fucking force drive her with this fucking wooden penis.
That is massive.
It's massive. It's like it, you know, it's designed to kill them. Yeah. And then we see it's been used and the camera pans over and we see a woman on the ground, her legs spread, blood just gushing out of her, and she's screaming. And she was like in waiting to have it done to her. No, she had blood slicked in front of her.
I think that was piss.
Look, whether or not it's supposed to be one thing or another, it's dark. Yes. It looks like blood. And frankly, and then we pan over to another one that was used earlier, and Ramada like puts his hands on it and like lifts them up, and they're all covered in gunk, and like it's like, is that gunk tar? Is that gunk blood? I think it's blood. I think it's pretty obvious that it's blood. In that case,
it's got to be blood.
But... And he rubs it on his face, and he just laughs about how excellent this is. Like he's like, and I think Ramada's like, he's being sarcastic. He's like, oh my God,
what a good time for everybody.
This is so fucking horrible. Yeah. It's all tied together because at the very end he says, where Greys come, Blacks will follow. And it's supposed to speak to the fact that when you have this fascist conquering force, you will have true nihilists follow that force, like true believers.
Earlier you asked me why they chose to make and focus on this like pervasively cruel society.
Gotcha.
And I think it's kind of like an anxiety that, you know, our society could slip into this. Like it's maybe a heightened version, but you know, we can see anti-intellectualism and cruelty in the world, and you know, there's nothing really stopping us from becoming the USSR or...
That's true, you know. But like even the USSR wasn't...
Yeah, but like I said, it's a heightened
version.
And like,
I can see you.
I can definitely empathize with the fear or the feeling of, you know, being one of the only rational kind people left in
a world of misery and cruelty.
Yes.
Gotcha. The big great lie of civilization is that paper is power. That if we write X thing on a document, that makes it real. That is not what makes it real. What makes it real is the threat of violence.
Right.
If you do not comply. So an alternative way to think about this is to think about this movie as showing you what it really is, like what society really is, without any of the wrapping paper on it.
Gotcha.
Right? Because like all of our social contracts are enforced by a threat of violence.
Right.
This is not to say that individuals would do this kind of stuff, but merely that, like, if you don't pay your rent, the police come and forcibly evict you from your home.
Yeah.
If you don't work a job, you can't pay for things. Therefore, you're put out on the street, and society does everything in its power to push you away, creates anti-homeless architecture, and doesn't let you sleep anywhere, doesn't let you rest. And so what this film is basically just showing is the cruelty behind every aspect of civilization.
Yeah.
Because if we just stopped pretending like we're so elevated and civilized, and we're just honest about the actual source of power in the world, which is cruelty, then you would see this Arkanar is that. It's the ugly face of how we've been doing civilization for the last 10,000 years.
Right.
And as an anarchist, I read that as just basically kind of demonstrating why this current system is not good. Like, anarchy doesn't say we don't have society. Anarchy just says we don't have a state, because the state is a monopoly on this violence. The state is a monopoly on this cruelty. Any system in which one group has the monopoly on violence, that group will eventually become the sole power in that civilization. So one of the big problems of our current society, and we're speaking as Americans here for anybody who's listening abroad, is that we have 3 branches of government, but only one of them actually has any actual violence that they can enforce.
Yeah.
Because if you go to court and a judge makes a court order against you, that judge's court order is enforced by the executive branch, the police, the military, whatever, right? Depending on your crime. I mean, God, you know what I mean?
Right, right.
But the judicial has no ability to enforce anything without the executive. So our executive branch right now, Trump, our current leader of government, he just realized the truth. Paper isn't power. He can do whatever he wants because they can say whatever they want on these documents, but he controls the military and he can do whatever he wants. Right. And I think that that's kind of what this film is showing. It's just like the only way you really have power is through violence, or through threats of violence, or implied violence.
Yeah, there's almost an implication that, like, even if the Enlightenment did happen, like, it's still built on this cruelty.
Right, exactly. Like, even if they had their Renaissance, the cruelty wouldn't go away. People would just, have more effective ways of killing each other, and we're cleaner about it.
Yeah.
But the only difference between that society and our current society is that we're cleaner about the people we kill. When you kill somebody with a bullet versus sticking them with a bunch of arrows, when you bury the dead instead of just leaving them out to rot. I mean, it doesn't, the bodies are still rotting.
Yeah.
You know, the blood is still on your hands, even if you have the soap to wash it off. We live in this clean, sanitized world, and it makes us forget the gritty subtext under which all of our civilization flourishes, especially in the West, because the Western world is propped up by an exploitation of people halfway across the planet that you'll never see or meet.
Right.
The suffering is just separated from us.
Yeah.
But it's still there. Arkanar is still there. It's just on the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
Irricon is the other country. We're living in Irricon, and we're just kind of like divorced from this horrible shit that's happening not too far away from us.
Yeah. But dependent on it.
Because like there's trade between these two kingdoms.
Yeah.
And there's people coming from Arkanar to that country. They're immigrating to that country the same way they would immigrate to America.
Yeah.
And who's to say that 100 years in the future of this planet, Irricon is not going to just suffer the same fate as Arkanar, because those problems are systemic, not.
Right.
It doesn't matter that you can make eyeglasses and telescopes and alcohol and guns. What matters is that you have a group of people who have put themselves at the top of your society, who then enforce the system of cruelty that is then used to exploit you. And then you also commit cruelty because you don't see any other means by which you can continue to survive in a world that doesn't support or foster benevolence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
wow.
Yeah, I feel like we need to take a moment of silence before we move on, almost. But I guess what I would go to next is
How do you even follow it?
Don Ramada's decision to start killing.
Right. Because like another aspect of this film that we haven't even discussed yet is the God part. Like we've discussed the hard part.
Okay.
But the God part, because Ramada is veiling himself as a demigod.
Yeah.
And for all intents and purposes, he fucking is.
Right.
Because he's got a super sword that can cut through anything, and he's got, you know, armor that can like save him from anything, and he's got a chariot of fire, right? His rule is don't kill. But they kill his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And the scene before this happens, a couple of scenes before this happens, he decides that he needs to kill Don Reba. He's like, I have to kill this man.
Yeah.
Because it's like he's the problem, and you know, I'll deal with the consequences later, but I think we just need to get rid of this guy.
Yeah.
Then he meets Don Reba, and I think Ramada just realizes he's a fucking joke at the end of this conversation. He's like, oh, you're just a joke. Like you're a paper man, and you're not really the one that's in control of this movement. You're just happen to be at the top of it right now, but you'll be replaced eventually. So he's like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to kill him. I'm not going to break my rule to kill this man because it won't solve anything. It won't solve the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he goes home, and then he has a night with his lady, and then she gets killed. The servants wake up, find her with a crossbow quarrel in the back of her skull, and he's done. He's done after this. And we have one of his servants start screaming about how God has decided to start killing.
Yeah. He's like, I'm just gonna kill everybody. And he starts praying like, God, if you exist, stop me. And
then he says, as if that isn't me.
Yeah, and we don't get to see the like battle or anything. It was actually kind of unclear to me watching it that he had murdered everybody.
Right, until you see him and he's just sitting there in a pool of rubble, basically, and he's just like.
Even at that point, it didn't. Click for me because it like the transition is so fast. It doesn't seem like much time has passed. So that was
it's nighttime when it starts, and then it's daytime when we get it again. So I
guess.
But the point is that he destroys this entire fucking city.
So he's kind of just like sitting there exhausted, and some of the other observers come, and he's like, they're not really saying much, but he's like kind of not exactly defending himself. He's just like, I don't have a defense. I killed everybody and I don't fucking care. And
it's hard to be a god.
You can punish me if you want, whatever. Yeah. And then he says the title of the film,
but it's really powerful when he says it, like, because it is like, to have all of that power and to still watch helplessly as it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's the real poison of this film, is that like you could have godlike power, right? Aside from omnipotence, like if you were an omnipotent god that could just snap their fingers and suddenly everything's better, fine, okay, whatever. But like you're a god who still has to like follow rules.
Yeah.
Even you can't kill the problems out of society. Like,
yeah, even if he could kill like if it was allowed to kill, he's figured out it didn't change anything.
Right. Like all he did was just have to start over. Like all he did was reduce his efforts to nothing.
Yeah.
Like any progress that he made, he killed everybody he was making the progress with.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a conversation earlier in the movie where he asks someone, if you could talk to God, what would you ask for?
And at first the person says, I'd ask him to give everyone everything they needed. And he's like, well, then the strong will take from the weak.
Yeah.
And then he responds, okay, well, then I'll have him punish the cruel so that no one would be cruel. But he's like, okay, well, we take and punish the strong and the cruel, but then the strongest of the weak will rise up and do the same thing. Yeah. So he's like, okay, you're wasting my time. Never mind. This is a stupid conversation. And then the guy's like, no. You know what I would ask God for? I'd ask him to either leave us to rot or to kill us all, to put us out of our misery or to leave us to rot, because we deserve this. We do it to ourselves is basically what he says.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah. And does his rampage kind of fulfill that wish of
it would only
being
fulfill the wish
out?
if he killed everyone on the planet. Right?
Yeah.
Because all he's done is just he's done what he said. He's like, he punishes the cruel and the strong.
Yeah.
And then
there were a lot of innocent people in there too.
Yes, but he's killed this one city. There are more.
Right.
Like we the scene we get after this is him with people again, playing music like he did at the start. It's been some time. He's shaved his head, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just going to do it again. The cycle is just repeating itself.
It's a type of cynicism that I don't fully subscribe to, but I can definitely see the position of okay, well, if nothing's ever going to change, then we should just end it all.
Right. It's the end result. It's the blacks in the context of this film. Again, I'm so sorry, audience. It's not like that. That's just what they're called.
Yeah. Yeah.
It probably translates in Russian. It sounds better in Russian, probably.
We can call them the dark ones.
That's not better. The black cloaks. We call them the black cloaks.
Okay.
But the black cloaks, that's their philosophy. That's just their philosophy.
Black hats.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, fuck everybody. We're gonna torture all of you. We're order and justice in this world. We're the source of punishment in this world. You'll come to the Tower of Joy and you'll face your punishment.
Yeah.
Let's answer the question. If you could have God come down and tell him to do any one thing to fix the world, what would you ask this benevolent entity?
Right.
What would your answer to that question be?
I mean, what's difficult about the question is you have to also implicitly answer how much power this God has.
Let's say you're on par with Ramada. You're just you're a guy with very powerful technology.
Yeah.
With the snap of your fingers, you could kill anybody. You're untouchable, basically, but you are still limited to your one locality at a time.
Yeah.
If you were Ramada, how would you fix this fucked up civilization? What would you do to help elevate them?
I mean, I feel like the way that our civilizations on Earth have advanced is something along the lines of, somebody has to try a more equitable arrangement and show that it's possible and that life can be worth living. There needs to be sort of a demonstration of a functional society that people can then subscribe to. But there's always going to be that seed of evil in the heart of man that will corrupt it over time.
Sure, but what even is that? You know what I'm saying? Evil is such a nebulous concept for the most part. Like,
yeah.
because, like, yeah, we'll say, like, okay, these people, like, lining up people against a wall and shooting them, that's evil, right? But, like,
what I have, like, my kind of working theory on this is the idea that some people are better than others, and like that's the thing that human civilization can't seem to shake, that's at the root of white power and
yeah, like the
capitalism. Ultimately, like
the heart of supremacist thinking is to think that you are superior for anything. Like, people have their talents or whatever. Like, people have things that they're naturally good at or versus, but in a vacuum, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't mean anything that you're good at sports or that you're good at art. Its value is ascribed by culture. And to think that you deserve to rule because you are rich or because you are white or because you are male or whatever. Yep. These things are the poisons that taint everything about the fucking world.
Yeah.
And it happens from our side as well. Like, the idea of calling people NPCs. I fucking hate that. But I see leftists.
What do you mean? Oh, okay.
Leftists call people NPCs, like call liberals NPCs.
Yeah, yeah.
Or to think that you're better than centrists, or to think that you're better than these conservatives. Like, you are no more immune to propaganda or to groupthink or to, like, the same atrocity engine at the heart of the fascists can just as well be fired up in the heart of the leftists. I mean, the USSR was founded on a, like, legitimate movement of grievances. Like, you say what you want about the Bolsheviks or whatever, but, like, the heart of that was founded on, like, legitimate problems in the society. People were fed up with the aristocracy and fed up with the czar and fed up with all of this stuff, and what they overthrew it, but they created a system that was just as cruel, just as exploitative, just as this.
Yeah.
And here in the West, in the US of A, we've made us the same kind of fucking system. It's just as exploitative, it's just as cruel, it's just as oppressive. But you have money and you get to choose what you spend that money on, so it's so much better than a society where you're told to do a job that you don't want to do, like how you have to do a job that you don't want to do.
Yeah, yeah. Except you also have to find the job.
Right, exactly. Like, at least in the USSR, they made it their goal to be like, everybody gets a fucking job and everybody gets a house and everybody gets this and that and that. Like, it's a cruel system. We all agree it was cruel.
Yeah.
But we have just as many fucking cruelties in our system.
Yeah.
And it's and they're spookily mirrored to each other if you really think about it. Like, the drudgery and the banality and the meat grinder. It's the same meat grinder. It's just two different spouts that lead to the same fucking grinder. And that's what this is. Arkanar is the fucking meat grinder. It's just showing you what it is. Using medieval trappings, but it could just as this society could just as easily have been capitalist or communist or whatever.
Yeah.
And still had the same cruelty, same at the heart of it. Did you want to talk about anything else in this film?
I think we can just go to the wrap-up stage and maybe other stuff will come up.
Okay.
Ari, what was one thing you liked and one thing you disliked about Hard to Be a God?
I really liked the shots of desolate beauty. Easily my favorite part. I have a bit of a fondness for dark imagery, dark fantasy imagery specifically. And while this is not an overtly fantasy film, some of the imagery kind of felt like something out of, like, Warhammer or something.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that. I wish the entire film was like that. Like, not even, like, we could still have the claustrophobic, but, like, I wish the entire film had more of that artfully designed framing.
Yeah.
Because, like, something that I didn't even bring up was the scene where God decides to start killing, and he's pulling out his gear and getting all his stuff, and he pulls his swords out from their holsters, and he has them over his face, and they almost look like prison bars. Like he's imprisoned by this. He can't stop himself. He's grieving so much. Like just there's like little bits like that in this film that are so artful and so dense in imagery and in impact that like I want to watch this film again. Like I need to take like a month or two.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
In a couple of months, I'm gonna watch this film again just to kind of relive and to see and to like look for more of those, because there was genuinely just like pure, beautiful, darkly beautiful, disgustingly beautiful imagery in this film.
Yeah.
But like I'm okay with that. Like I don't really mind being grossed out. I want art to make me feel emotions, and this film makes me feel despair, and that means it's successful at what it's trying to do. One thing I didn't like, especially after reading the book so far, I really just don't like how hard to follow the plot that there is in this film.
That was going to be my
and that we can agree on that. Let's talk about that then. Like, because I genuinely really like the story of the book. It's becoming one of my favorite books so far. I'll see how I feel when I finish it, but like I love this book so far, and I just wish that the film did a better job, because the book is so dense with lore and information, to the point that I am going to make a special For Our Coffee podcast of just talking about the book. This film really does not do well with following a plot. But I've read the book now, and if I go back and watch the film, I will know what's going on.
Right. Yeah, it's almost, there was kind of a similar thing with the film The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, which is based on an old Japanese like short story that's been adapted many times. So the anime Girl Who Leapt Through Time was like maybe the 12th iteration, and there's a lot in it that kind of assumes that you know the story. So there maybe is kind of something similar here where, you know, you would benefit from having previous knowledge of it. But like the way that it's made is very kind of naturalistic. You know, the dialogue, sometimes it's heightened in the sense that, you know, people are kind of eloquent,
but it's like they're doing that on purpose. There's scenes where they're like trying to be, they're being that way because they're in the court, or he's like reciting his Ramada's like reciting his own poetry that he wrote, and you know, it's like stuff like that. But like when people are just talking, they're just kind of talking, and they like tell each other to go fuck themselves. Like,
very naturalistic, almost like a if John Cassavetes was born in the Dark Ages. Like I do appreciate that. I like the dialogue in this film.
I appreciate it too, but the downside is I have no fucking context for anything. Yeah. And I it's definitely on purpose, but I just maybe just a little bit more. Yeah. Like, because they do narration. They have a narrator. Yeah, so there could be maybe a little bit more, like a few more pieces of narration just to help orient the audience a little better. I would have really liked that, because, again, having now read half of the book, I can be like, oh, I see X, Y, Z. I see what was going on. It makes so much more sense to me now. Yeah. I'm trying to not talk about the film with the book in mind, because we're trying to talk about the film on its own. Right. It's really evident to me now. You almost have to read the book and then watch this film. Yeah. Because if you read the book and then watch this film, while the ending is very different and the some of the things are a little different, it helps you at least understand what the fuck is happening. Yeah, yeah. It's a sad shame, because this film has so much potential in it for it. And I'm happy that I watched it before reading the book, because I got to just experience just its brutality so fresh, and I had no idea. Yeah. And honestly, being lost kind of helped my enjoyment the first time. But in hindsight, I wish we knew a little bit more what was going on. Yeah, just had more to hold on to, and like there were a lot of scenes where people are talking, they're doing things,
I don't know what any of this means or implies, and I'm just kind of, it's just kind of washing over me.
Which maybe was the intent.
Maybe.
But what was your favorite thing?
I like the characterization of Don Ramada. He's an interesting person to watch. He has a little bit of that kind of mythical Western badass. You know, people are constantly putting spears in his face, and he's just has the calmness of knowledge that these are ants compared to him.
Yeah, but the spears are so funny because it's just like I feel like in the second half of this film, every time we turn around, there's just spears in his face. It's so funny how often it happens.
Yeah,
but yeah, you're right. He's like because he knows that his armor is invulnerable to this shit. Like,
yeah, and like even the time that he is captured, you know, he fights his way through a bunch of this army, but then they get a net on him and dogpile him, and they haul him off to, I guess, Don Reba or whatever.
Yeah, or we're not clear, but they take him somewhere, and then but then Don Reba has the men guarding him killed, so that he could have a conversation with him. Which by the way, like, okay, that's another detail that's really interesting about this film is that this film, despite its grossness, is relatively gore free until the midpoint, and it flips. Like, so we see people like lynched and hanging, we see that, but we don't really see like gore or blood or anything like that. And then when he's captured and wherever they take him to, and we see how the guard is executed, they like put a rock under the guy and then hit him in the back of the head so that his head gets crushed and there's just blood gushing, and then they put this the hat of despair on him.
And sorrow.
The heart of sorrow, And I said it looked like it looks like a capote, which is a very pointy hat that certain religious orders wear. So it's like, again, more to that theme of pain and misery being their god.
Yeah, it happens a few times where they'll put this big leather cone kind of dunce cap over the dead.
Kind of looks like a dunce cap too, but like it kind of it specifically evoked the imagery of that. Anyone who's played the game Blasphemous, there's some similar imagery in those two games as well, or into the game in this movie as well. And just more to the point of like, after that halfway point, then the film starts getting really cruel. Like, because that's when we get the scene of the people being tortured and the giant wooden dick. And then we also get a scene, and this is a scene that I want to run by you again. When we see all of those prisoners and they're all carrying their own gallows off down the road. Like, that's fucked. That's... When I talk about like dark fantasy imagery in this film, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's just like, that's such an unrealistic thing, but like, you know, you make these prisoners march with their own gallows. Yeah,
it's like basically a scaffolding that's being carried by, I don't know, a dozen slaves, or I guess people being executed, and the like hanging from the top of the scalpel is the noose around their necks, and they're like kind of shouldering the structure of it, and presumably they're going to like go affix it to some other structure and then
die. And it's just and that's just stuff. It just happens, and Ramada just watches it, and he's like, and he kind of looks a little horrified, honestly, by that. Like, this film is just watching Ramada slowly lose his fucking sanity. Like, like when he snaps at the end and kills everybody, it's not like it comes out of nowhere. It's earned. This film puts him through the ringer, and I think he just snaps because he's seen too much. Like, his girlfriend dying that's that. He's done. He can't.
I guess my impression was like, yes, he's seen a lot of shit, but most of it has happened before the movie starts. And he's already very cynical and tired, and
Because this film opens with him waking up on the floor of his manor, and the servant saying that the rats came and ate all the lard.
Yeah.
There's imagery in that as well. Like,
yeah,
the scavengers have come and already taken from you. Anyway.
But yeah, so his character to me was interesting to watch in its complexity of, he has this kind of badass side, but he's also so weary, and he's, gives in to the cruelty of the world, and fucks with people. Like, there's one point where he's riding a donkey through a city and he's passing these like singing monks, and he like collects like the donkey shits, and he's like holding a bag, and then he throws the bag of donkey shit at the priests or monks or whatever.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like the big man on campus and is bored of it, but what does he have to do except
just fuck with people?
Yeah.
Like, he's got to have his fun. He is very bored. And that is something that is true to the medieval European setting, is people were bored all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Because I said earlier, like, they had so much time on their hands. Like, we have no concept of it in our modern world. We do not understand what it's like to have weeks and weeks of just time on your fucking hands. It's just like
yeah,
like people didn't have to have cars to go everywhere, because they could spend a week walking someplace and walking back, and nothing happened while they were gone.
Yeah. And then my dislike is mainly the confusion of not having a clear plot to hold on to.
The delirium of this story that would be that would be what it is. Like, this movie evokes in me the emotions of delirium and despair.
Let's briefly talk about the final scene.
Okay.
Because we kind of mentioned it, but after he kills that village, we have a time skip. It's unclear, but years have passed.
Yeah, he shaved his head and he looks visibly older.
And he's wearing glasses now.
Yes.
And he's running with a different crew who have the armor of
the Greys. Yeah. So he might be with the Greys at this point.
Yeah. They're kind of going through a more like open wasteland kind of area.
And it's winter.
And they found the corpses of, I guess you said they were like two other observers.
They're two other observers. Yeah, because we have this scene earlier where all of the observers have like gotten together and they're drinking and talking and laughing throughout the whole film. One by one, they all die, and these were the two left that were in that scene that hadn't died yet.
Yeah. And they say that they had killed each other in some dispute. And so Ramada is angry about that. And he's like, you fucking bastards. He like stomps on their corpses a little bit. Because like now he's completely alone, presumably.
Right. Or maybe there's other observers, but like these were his friends.
Right.
Because there is that one that does show up at the end that he talks to, and I didn't recognize him from the group. So I think like he's just these are the last of his friends.
Okay. So yeah, he does that, and then he gets out his instrument and he starts playing his like pseudo jazz, and that kind of plays us out as we get this shot of this haunting, desolate landscape, immaculately framed, and they kind of their caravan or whatever goes down the road.
And then there's two unnamed characters. One's a kid and one's an adult, and they walk up, and the kid's like, do you like this music, father? And he's like, I don't know. And the kid's like, it makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
But to my ear, it's beautiful. I thought it was a very beautiful way to end the film, but I think the point of that is that this civilization isn't ready for jazz. Like, because jazz is a very free
Or maybe he's picking up on the sorrow that's Don Ramada is putting into it.
That's fair. That's fair. Because there is a sorrow to it. It's like there's a sorrow for this world. You see how this world is probably doomed. This world in the film is probably not going to make it. Then truly the true pain and despair is that everything that Ramada did would be for nothing. All his trauma, all his pain.
Yeah.
If this doesn't succeed, if this planet does succumb and everyone dies or whatever, it's just what a waste.
Yeah. And for now he's just left wandering the earth. Well, not the earth, but
this place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully the fresh air is better for him than living in that
yeah.
shithole that he was in before.
I did get the sense that he's kind of matured. He maybe learned something from his like violent outburst, and he's a bit more like reserved, perhaps a bit wiser.
And he's more regal.
Yeah.
Like, because it's kind of interesting because when we see him for most of the film, he's in this armor and it's kind of evocative of a conquistador. In like it's how the plate is designed and how it rests on him, and how he's like riding his horse all around and everything like that. It just he doesn't feel like a medieval knight. He feels like he carries himself like a conquistador.
Okay.
And then at the end though, he's in this oversized fur coat and he looks more like a king than a knight or like that. Like so he's coming to this world as a conqueror, to conquer their darkness. He's come to conquer them from themselves. Yeah. But then he learns that that's not going to work, and so now he's more of he's more settled into this ruler mantle. It's kind of how I read that costume design.
Yeah, but I still think he doesn't know what to do. Like there's still no like
there's no
clear
closure
path forward.
Yeah. But he's clearly changed his operating procedure.
Yeah.
But he's still playing the music like he was before. And I feel like that's why I know that the cycle is not going to be broken. Because the film ends how it starts.
Yeah.
Because he's playing the same song.
Yeah.
Because like, and it's interesting because at the start of this film, it's so whimsical almost. Like all of his servants are plugging their ears and laughing about it, and he's just walking around and playing and stepping over things, and like it's kind of like there's a dark whimsy to it.
Yeah.
And then at the end it's just pure despair and sorrow and hollowness, and it's just you're left feeling so empty and almost relieved. You're relieved that like you don't have to look at this disgusting city anymore. Like you're almost in Ramada's shoes, where it's like, wow, he did everyone a favor by like burning this fucking place down, because it was a cesspit.
Yeah.
Right. And like now we're in this open, clear air, and there's no ruins anywhere, and it's a different kind of desolation when we go to the second half, or the second ending. Because if the film had just ended with him sitting in the rubble, I would have been satisfied. But this second little ending that we get, is this epilogue that we get, is very insightful into what I think the director is trying to say. Because if we just ended with the fake out ending, where he's like, it's hard to be a god and I'm just tired, and he goes to rest.
Yeah.
Because like there's a guy with a crossbow that goes and perches up, and I swore that as soon as he went to sleep, he was just going to shoot him in the head with it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen. But there's a hope that maybe things will get better now or whatever. But when we get this epilogue, we see like nothing really has improved. The change of scenery has happened, but like it's still the same shit that it was before.
Yeah. Well, as is often the case, after talking about this, and I also watched one kind of short video on it, I do appreciate it more, because when we watched it, I was kind of
yeah, we almost didn't make this episode. We almost didn't make this episode because you weren't sure if you had anything to say, really.
Yeah, it just seemed like such a slog.
If you are like us and you like to watch very dense, difficult kind of media, if you like art that challenges you, I would recommend this film to you, audience members.
Yeah. It's kind of a different kind of dense.
Yeah, it is. Really, it is. But I would still recommend it nonetheless if you're into art house, if you're into if you're into like long, boring dramas, like I recommend it. If you are not one of those people, and that's okay, I would recommend you read the book. Read the book. It's so good. The book is good. And the book is not as confusing.
Yeah, it sounds like a very different experience.
It is. It's even though it's basically the same plot, it's a very different experience.
Yeah.
If you like vibes and you want to be depressed, watch this film. If you don't, then just read the book. The book is very cynical, so be advised about that. But, I think that consuming art that challenges your worldviews is very important. And I am not a cynic. I'm a very optimistic person.
Yeah.
But this media being cynical helps me to have a call and response with my optimism. And I think that that's very helpful. And I think that if you are an optimist like me, reading this book or watching this film will challenge you. But if you're a cynical nihilist person or just depressed, you'll also get something out of this because it'll just affirm your own worldview.
Yeah.
So, but maybe don't start throwing intellectuals into shit piles. That would probably be bad.
That's too far. We can agree to draw the line.
We can agree to draw the line at lynching smart people. Hopefully.
Grim dark idiocracy.
Oh my god. Yeah, actually, that's the title of this.
This has been Emissaries from the Void with Ari Stell Hawthorne and myself, Tristan Bowersox. New episodes will be released every other week with short bonus content we're calling liminals in the off weeks. The intro music is Now I Hear Little Dreams by Captive Portal, and the outro music is Arcadia by White Bat Audio. You can find us on Blue Sky at Void Emissaries, and remember that's single M double S. You can find Ari as Obscurity on most platforms and me on Blue Sky and Letterboxd as TB McQueen. The latter is where you will find our watch list and suggest movies you'd like to hear us dissect. You can also email us at emissariesfromthevoid@outlook.com to give feedback, alternate takes on the movies we've discussed, questions, suggestions, etc. Emissaries from the Void is a Void Opal podcast produced by TB McQueen Creative. For something completely different, listen to my other podcast, Fan Fiction Theater.
As the world unravels under the weight of an immortal sorcerer's despair,
Tula must confront the man who quite literally stole her heart.
along with a cunning demon bound to her by desperate choices, she journeys through a land scarred by destruction, seeking to be made whole again before darkness consumes everything. A tale of resilience, reckoning, and the cost of hope. A Bird for a Heart explores what it means to hold on to your humanity when the world demands you let it go. A Bird for a Heart is a fantasy fiction podcast, written and recorded by Michael J. Patrick.
Available wherever fine podcasts are found.